Good afternoon, my awesome circle. Happy Saturday. Very, very happy to be with you again. It is so beautiful here in Arizona. I am in a small park in North Tempe, South Scottsdale. And how's everybody doing? It's been quite an interesting week or so. And I say that because there was a whole lot of energy. People are really coming into their own right now. People are really like hustling and bustling and starting new things and really trying to do their best to get on top of their lives for 2021, to make a difference, to rebound from 2020. So I'll start as always with the numerology number of the day, which is the number 1. And as you may have heard from previous talks and sessions, the number 1 marks the beginning of a new cycle. It marks new beginnings, new ways of seeing things. It is the beginning of something that you have been planning, and now it is here, and now you're in the middle of it. And a lot of you have made some plans last week, week before last, and now a lot of your plans have come to fruition, and you are implementing your strategy, and you're in the middle of that right now, working it out. And you have the energy, because the energy is here right now. If you pull that energy in, it is there for you. There is a spark right now in everybody for you to be able to do the things you need to do to implement your life strategy, to implement that new business venture, that new business plan. The energy is here right now for that. So when we think about new energy and we think about newness and the fact that we are now in the middle of some plans that we've made before, think about what you were doing, for instance, last December. What were you working on? What were some of the things that you were ending? What were some of the loose ends that you were tying up? What were some of the things that you were reflecting on and you were thinking, okay, this is the end of this particular thing. I'm done with this. After 2020, I'm not doing this anymore. Whether it is a relationship, a business venture, a job, a way of doing things, a lack of a regimen, whatever it was in the last cycle or the last season, which was winter, right, or 2020, there were some behaviors, there were some ventures and initiatives and ways of thinking and patterns that you reflected on, and you had made the decision that you were no longer going to be invested in those things, that you're going to divest your energy and your emotions and your thoughts into something new, something better. And so my question to you is, to what extent have you been able to do that? Now that we're in 2021 and we're in the highest energy season of the year right now, end of March, beginning, middle of April, this is the highest energy of the year. This is the most potent energy of the year. This is where, if you're going to get something started successfully, it's going to happen right now. You have either already started it and you're moving through it and you're making some strides, or hopefully you're not one of those people who's just sitting back and have fallen back into old patterns and have not been able to jump on this energy and leverage it for your improvement, for your betterment, because the energy is there for you right now. The spark is there. I've come to this park in the past, in a previous season, and even the animals and the bugs, they were dormant. They weren't biting me then. I didn't have little bugs falling from the trees and biting my skin. I didn't have ducks and other birds landing on this table or this bench where I am and coming up to me looking to see if I have food. I mean, everybody is more aggressive. The energy in the air is aggressive and focused on a particular plan of action. Everything, every living thing is suffused with energy to begin something new and to carry that out. And so we as humans, we're a type of animal with the top of the food chain, but we're animals nonetheless. And we too are subject to those energies. And you want to leverage that energy and use that energy and not have it use you, right? So it is there. And if you don't have a plan of action, if you are not focused on some sort of strategic outcome, then you're going to get lost in the mix. You're going to get lost in someone else's energy, get lost in someone else's magnetism. You're going to get lost in someone else's vortex, where they are magnetizing and attracting to themselves the things that they have intentioned, the things that they have intended, their intentions, their desires, their love, their everything that they have planned, everything that they've been focusing on for the past couple of months. Those things are coming to fruition. And if you did not do the work, you're going to get lost in their story, lost in their action. And, maybe if that happens to you, it might even be in alignment with something that you're thinking about doing. But I'm letting you know right now, if you didn't do the work, you're gonna get lost in the shuffle, and you're gonna be in someone else's story. You're gonna be in someone else's, someone else's destiny. And you want to do your best to make sure that you're aligned with the seasons, that you are paying attention to what is happening, so that you can be able to build a life for yourself and move along your journey and your destiny in a way that is fulfilling for you, and not, just be a cameo in someone else's show, right? It's your show. And unless you build the framework, and unless you do the work and the planning and the strategy, you're going to get lost. Okay? So it's going to be very, very important that you take advantage of this energy right now. What are some of the new rituals, some of the new regimens that you've come up with for this new year that are going to sustain your action, that are going to sustain your plans for your business venture, for your new lifestyle, for your new relationship status, for those things that you vowed that you would do? Many of us made promises to ourselves that this year would be different, right? And so what kind of promises did you make to yourself that you really, really need to make sure that you're fulfilling? Because the promises you make to other people are only as successful and reliable as the promises you can make to yourself. You have to practice being reliable by making sure you're doing the things that you said you would do for yourself. So right now I'm being bitten by some bug on my back. I don't want to kill it, but I may have to. It bit me. So yeah, there's a lot of aggression in the air, and it's not necessarily bad. It's like, how are you going to leverage it? How are you going to direct it? Are you going to direct it constructively? Are you going to take all that energy you have right now, that strong, potent energy for creating something new, and are you going to use that for something constructive and something practical? Or are you going to fall back on old patterns and let yourself get caught up in gossip, let yourself get caught up in things that are not going to be used for something that is good, for something that is going to be used to build something that is going to be lasting for you and those you love? It's really important for you to understand that the energy is real right now. It's serious. A lot of you, maybe you're having some crazy dreams. I know I am. I'm having some. Last night I had one of the most vivid, aggressive, crazy dreams. I mean, I was injured. Someone stabbed me in the heart. It's like, what the world? But as always, I get up and I analyze the dream, and I pull and extract out of it what is constructive and what is useful for me. And I hope you're doing the same thing. But it's a time like that where everything is vivid, everything is stark, everything is potent, and you really need to ride this bull, and understand that it is a gift, and use this energy for your betterment. Right? Okay. So today I'm kind of all over the place. I have so many things on my mind, so many seeds of thought, so many ideas and concepts that I want to share. And I have to admit that because of all of this energy, this chaotic, energy, it's hard to pick something and plan it out and be able to deliver to you in a way that is succinct. But I'm going to do my best to provide something of value to you today. So I've been thinking about archetypes. I've been thinking about archetypes of personality and how those are all lined up according to the 7 chakras. Just about everything that you see, everything is made up of the 7 chakras. So some of you know, some of you have a scientific background, or some of you have been in this type of understanding when it comes to enlightenment and when it comes to some of what might be called New Age concepts, that the visible spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum, consists of 7 colors, the 7 primary colors. And that is all that as humans we can see. Other animals can see even more, but we can only see red through ultraviolet. So every single thing that we experience in this dimension is made up of those 7 primary colors. And many of you know that the things that we see have a relationship to the things that we hear and the things that we feel. Okay? So everything that you see and experience consists of that particular band of visible light, that spectrum. For example, we know that it goes from red, which corresponds to the 1st chakra, to orange, which corresponds to the 2nd chakra of growth and vitality. Then it goes to the 3rd chakra, which is associated with the color yellow, okay, which is the solar chakra. Then it goes to the 4th chakra, which is associated with the color green. And the color green, as you might be able to determine, you see that, leaves are green, grass is green, there's a lot of green, and it sort of has become representative of life, symbolic of life. And that's the 4th chakra. The 5th chakra is blue, or cyan, and blue is associated with water, but blue is one of those colors that when you look into the sky, you think the sky is blue because of the way the sun hits it and how it refracts a lot of the particles in the air and the gases in the air. But as far as we're concerned, when we look up, we see blue. So blue is one of the colors that we see a lot of because it is what is in the air when we look up, right? It's in the sky. And the 6th chakra is indigo. It's a very, very dark, inky type of blue, and that is kind of associated with space, the color of space. The color, when you look into space, it's actually like a very, very dark blue, like indigo. And last but not least, we have violet, which is the 7th chakra. So each of those colors corresponds to the chakras, and each of them is used to create everything we see. So the divine intelligence used all of those to create the dimensions and to create us and create what we see. Not only are those colors associated with light and associated with what we see, but they're associated with what we hear. Each of those also corresponds to a sound, a tone on the piano or on any musical instrument. From red to ultraviolet, there are notes on the piano that correspond to those colors. So everything that you see is because you can't hear it. Everything that you hear is because you can't see it. But hearing and seeing, although there are two different senses, two of our five senses, they are reflections of energy and vibration. And so things that we see are vibrating at a much, much quicker, a higher frequency. So a color is just a sound at a much higher frequency that we cannot hear, but we see it. Okay? For many of you, maybe it's your first time hearing this, but this is common knowledge in physics. And in those of us that are musicians, that sound is actually color, and color is sound. And so the point I'm making is that the electromagnetic spectrum of those 7 primary colors corresponds to not only the visible colors that we see, but also sounds that we can't see, but we can only hear. Okay? And so to go even further, there is something called Cymatics, and that's Cymatics. If you look that up on YouTube or you Google that, you see that that is the study of the shape and texture of sound. Okay? So the experiment that was done, and can be done anytime you'd like to see it on YouTube, is that there is sort of like a drum. You imagine you have a drum, and then on top of it, the drum is like, imagine it's covered with like a black type of skin. And there is a type of sand that they put on top of there, just cover it with sand. And then there is a speaker that will emit the sound of a particular hertz or frequency that corresponds to a note. Like, let's say it's A, and A corresponds to the color orange, right? We know that. Well, when they emit the A with the correct hertz into that drum, it vibrates so that the sand configures itself into a particular shape. So the color, the sound and tone of A, or the color orange, also has a shape. It's universal. This is a universal language. In every language, anywhere on the earth, if that particular tone is played through the speaker onto this drum that has this sand on top of it, it goes into a particular shape. And if they turn it up, if they turn the frequency up to go to B or C, which has a higher frequency, the shape changes. It becomes a different shape. So there are archetypical shapes that correspond to each color and to each note. And these archetypical shapes are used to create everything we see. Everything you see, everything you experience comes from that spectrum, that electromagnetic spectrum that we are limited to experiencing. Everything comes from that. From what you hear, to what you see, to what you feel, the texture, the shape, all of that is based on archetypes. and even your personality. Many of you are aware that in my consulting business and also in my corporate career in management, I did a lot of assessments and a lot of team building, and I have a very, very good understanding of different personalities. I've done many assessments where I understand that there are questionnaires that you can take, and depending on the outcome of the questionnaire, it shows, based on Myers-Briggs, that you're a particular personality type. You can take a test that will let people know your preference for communicating, your communication preference, whether it's DISC, where D is for dominant, I is for influence, S is for steady, and C is for compliance. Those are 4 different communication types, and if you're working in groups, it's very helpful to be able to administer that behavioral test, because it helps people understand how to be grouped together and how to work together in a smooth, seamless fashion to get something done. The same with Myers-Briggs. But what I'm going to tell you is that corresponding to each of those 7 archetypes is a kind of soul type, a type of personality that corresponds to each of those. For example, the 1, which is the red, which is also a certain sound and a shape, the 1 is the initiator. It is sort of where we are right now. Today is a 1 day, and this is a kind of like a 1 season where everything starts. This is the beginning of a cycle. And red is a very powerful, potent color. And the personality type associated with 1 is one that initiates things. The 1 personality is one that has a spark, that has an idea, that creates something. Okay? And they are the leaders. They are a type of leader. They are a very good leader. So 1s are known as leaders, and you can, one of the best ways to determine your leadership type or determine your archetype is through your life path, and that's a numerological concept. And so if you're a life path 1, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you're gonna have to look it up, or you can seek me after this, and I would love to chat with you about it. But people that have life path 1 can certainly understand what I'm saying, that you're just a leader. It's very difficult for you to even take direction. It's very difficult for you to work under anybody. You typically have to have your own business, because you have these ideas and you have the strength and momentum and the character and the creativity to do it yourself, right? And so because of that type of strength, you have the charisma that draws people to you, and people who want to help you and want to become aligned with your purpose. So that's 1. And then 2 is more of a personality that is someone who is supportive, someone who sees your vision and who really, really wants to buy into it and get others to support it. A 2 is someone who is a cheerleader. A 2 is someone who is very expressive emotionally and can tap into other people's emotions and get them involved in your initiative. So in any business, it's nice to have a 1 that leads, but if you don't have a 2 that is going to be supportive and that's going to help other people get on board and see the vision and use their emotional expression to get buy-in, then it may not be successful. Because all of these archetypes are equally important. You need all of them. And so I see oftentimes on teams or in leadership where people get used to a particular way of doing things and don't understand the importance of using all of the different archetypes for an initiative or a project to be successful. And then we have 3, which is associated with the color yellow and the solar chakra. And the 3 is someone who is collaborative in nature. They're the people. The people persons. The 3 is collaborative. They like to get people involved. They're normally very extroverted, and they like people. involved. They want to be involved with people. They want to be on the different clubs. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They are usually funny and entertaining, but they're very, very gifted and creative at bringing people together and going to the next level from 2. 2 is the initial support, but 3, it gets everybody together and is more collaborative and creative and funny. Okay, and so that's the color yellow. And then we have the next, I would say, soul archetype, which is 4, and I'm actually a life path 4, and 4s are people who are extremely gifted at one-on-ones. We're very, very gifted at being able to be with a person for a very short duration, but be able to see their best qualities. We can see what their potential is. It's just a gift. I can be with someone for 5 minutes and I know what their gift is. I just know. I don't have it. It's not cerebral. It's not mental. It's completely heart. It's like I know who they are and what they're about and who they are at their best. Even though at this particular moment they might not be at their best. And they may not even be doing well. They may be in a trough in their lives or in a valley. But I can see that they have the potential to do something great. And life path 4s like myself, that is what they do, associated with the color green. It is the heart chakra. It is the love chakra. It is the unity understanding chakra. And I'm just a good person one-on-one. Like I have so many awesome friends, and I have these special relationships with people because of my gift of being able to see them for who they are. And oftentimes, my personality is called the coaching personality, the coaching soul archetype, because I'm able to show people who they are. Sometimes they can't see themselves, but through me, and I'm able to show them parts of themselves that they are blind to because of maybe some of the traumas and some of the issues they've gone through. They can't even see who they are, but I have the gift to show them that. So that is 4. That's life path 4. Then you have life path 5, or the 5th soul archetype, which is associated with the 5th chakra. And the 5th chakra is associated with the color blue, and it is a throat chakra, and it has to do with speaking. And the 5th chakra is known for wisdom, in that it is that next level of love, where it has learned the lessons of the 4th chakra. And the 4th chakra is all about kind of giving up yourself, like surrendering yourself to help others. Where the 5th chakra is more about wisdom and understanding that you can love yourself, and in so doing, you learn how to love others. And so you don't have to give up yourself to love someone else, and that is the 5th chakra. It's known as the wisdom chakra, and it's associated with blue. And people that are life path 5s are very expansive. They're adventurous. They like to do new things. They think out of the box. They're very quick on their feet, and they are very, very, very good with learning. So they're also known as the learning archetype. So they like to get to the details of things. They like to do research and understand how everything works. It's not enough for them to have kind of a heart connection. They are more cerebral, and they want to do the research and get all the answers. And someone has to do it, and that is typically what a life path 5 will do. And now that takes us to number 6, which is associated with the 3rd eye chakra, and that is the 6th chakra, and it's associated with the color indigo, all right? And basically, this is someone who is more of a parent or guardian type of personality. They're very caring, and they are also extremely loving, and they want to, they have an emotional connection, but oftentimes they know how to get things done. And sometimes they may come across as callous, but they see the bigger picture, and they are trying to get things done. They see what the deadline is, and they understand that, and they are the guardian. They're sort of a parent type personality, caring, making sure everybody's okay, but they like to get things done. So the Sixth Chakra is associated with vision, higher vision, and community, and just caring for their community, caring for their family, kind of a parental way and a guardian type way. And then we have the seventh soul archetype, and that's associated with the Seventh Chakra, which is associated with the color violet, or the amethyst crystal or gem. And these people are very, very experimental. They're known as an experimental soul. So these are the type of people who are making decisions very, very quickly. So they are only big picture. They do not need the details. They can use their intuition to make a decision, and they're not really all about making the right decision the first time. They know, for instance, like in sales, if you're in sales, you know you're going to get a whole lot of no's before you get some yeses. And so if you're someone in sales and you're going through leads, you know that someone's going to hang up the phone on you, someone's going to say no over and over and over again, but you know all you need is, once you get through about 20 no's, you know you're going to probably have about 2 sales, right? So Seven Chakra people are like that too. They fire and then aim. So they are experimentals. So they know that the first time they fire, it's probably not going to hit the target. But they get closer to the target and get to the end of things quickly because they're shooting based on the intuition and based on some of the information that the Archetype 6 has brought them, some of the information that Archetype 5 has brought them, being surrounded by people like 4. And so they are surrounded by all of the different archetypes, and so they're able to really be their experimental self and be successful and actually bring the team where it needs to go. But these are people that are not making decisions based on emotion at all. They're not making decisions based on their feelings at all. And so oftentimes people that are seven chakra soul archetypes can be misconstrued or misconstrued as someone who is heartless, or someone who doesn't care, and someone who doesn't care about people's feelings and things like that. But it's just that is not the priority when they are working on a project. And so the important point that I am making when I bring all of these archetypes to you is that just like there are different seasons and just like there are different colors in the rainbow, they all work together, and they're all different. And we need to get to know and understand ourselves. And as we get to know ourselves, then we can better kind of focus on what matters to us. And as you are aligning yourself, what's really important to you, what happens is that you engage in what is called this reticular activating system. And so some of you may have heard of this before, but the reticular activating system is something that happens in our brain when we learn something. You notice how when you learn something new, after that, you see that thing all the time. Like, for instance, like let's say you were just looking at a black Lexus RX 350. You drove that, took it for a test drive. And now for the rest of the week, when you look on the highway, you're going to just see a bunch of those black Lexus RX 350s. That's what you're going to see all the time. And that is an example of how the reticular activating system works. And so when you focus on your own dreams and you put a plan together and you are cultivating an understanding of yourself and what your strengths are and what makes you work and makes you tick and what's good for you, the universe, God, Spirit, is going to bring to you over and over the things that resonate with what you're focusing on. That's why the saying says, what you focus on expands. And it expands because of the reticular activating system, because you begin to get somewhat of a tunnel vision based on what you're working on, what you're thinking about. A couple of weeks ago, I said that out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks. I also said that guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. Those things that you hold in your heart, those things that you think about, dwell on, marinate and focus on, those are the things that you're creating your life with. So it's important that first you understand who you are and you understand what you bring to the table in a lot of detail. You should be intrigued with yourself. And then as you take time to do that, you're going to be much more open to other people's gifts and other people's unique talents and distinctive competencies. And you'll be a better teammate. You'll be a better human because you'll understand that everybody brings something different and unique to the table. And it's worth taking the time to get to know that about people before making a quick decision about someone based on what someone else said, instead of based on your interactions with them. So what I want to end with is that this is a very, very high energy, pivotal time of the year for everybody. There's a lot of aggression, there's a lot of energy, and you want to be able to align yourself with your own vision and focus on the things that you need to do to move forward your plans and your strategies. And the new things, the new structures and new systems that you have created in your life, the vows that you've made with yourself, the promises that you made to yourself, keep those promises. Don't fall back on old patterns. Don't fall back on old ways of doing things, on old friends and old acquaintances that are no longer aligned with the person that you want to be in 2021. 2020 has taught us a lot of lessons. Many of us have relationship status changes. Many of us have different jobs. Many of us have insight into what we really should be doing with our energy and our time. Make good on that. Don't go back to the old way, because the old way is crumbling. The old systems and old strategies and old structures are crumbling. And the people and the situations and the circumstances associated with those old systems and structures are falling away. So your safety is going to be in your new creations, in your new vows, in your new promises, in this amazing springtime, in this high energy time. Your safety is going to be in those new promises that you made to yourself and the new systems that you're building with your creativity and your focus. So number one, understand who you are uniquely based on those archetypes. Understand that all of it works together, that we are all different, unique aspects of the divine creator. Right now, I am God being Ernest. Right now, you are God being Sandra. Hi, Sandra, book of music. So the divine creator has an energy inside you that is unique from the energy inside of others, but all together we equal God. All of us together equal God. Understand that. That's how it all works. And we're all one. And separation is definitely an illusion. And the veil with regard to that is thinning. So that was all over the place. But mission accomplished. I definitely gave you a bit of what's been on my mind, and I will upload this shortly, and it'll be available. If you want to chat with me or talk with me, as I've said before, you can definitely find me by going to my dream_coach account and clicking on the link that will allow you to schedule time with me. My consulting firm is called SOS Consulting, and you can set up a time for us to talk. If you want to read my book, which is Detox Your Circle, you may go to my link that is, I believe it is on this particular account, and it's a link that will take you to Amazon where you can purchase it in either the soft cover, the hardback, like this one, or you can download it for like $3.99 in an ebook. Very simple. In addition to that, I have been asked to do readings. It's not something I really thought I was ever going to do. But because of a lot of demand, I'm going to go ahead and do readings. I've only done that with my friends in the past, but if there's someone on here who wants a reading, it goes from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And I'll gladly do that for you. Feel free to hit me up on here. You can use my Cash App for that. But, you know, I have begun to open up to my gifts and to share them and not be caught up in a particular box or a particular identity based on my corporate experience or based on the fact that I'm a professor or that I own a consulting firm. I have a lot of different gifts, and I'm at the point in my life where part of my inspiration and my emancipation, if you will, is allowing myself, being open to sharing my gifts and my intuition and the downloads that I get and enlightenment that I have. And so it's no longer a secret. Whether you want to call me psychic, you want to call me intuitive, I don't really care what you call me, but I basically can do a lot of that stuff, and including healing. So hit me up. But otherwise, enjoy this beautiful, beautiful day. I know I will. And I'll be seeing you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.